Hello, my name is Thomas Mick. I realize that I'm not some great political leader or some ex-general or person in the command structure of any militia. I certainly am not. There are many capable people with military experience who are far more knowledgeable of the martial arts than I am. But I am an avid student of history. And throughout the millennia of recorded history, empires have come and gone. Nations have risen and fallen. And the lessons learned by those events have largely been either forgotten or just simply not taught to future generations, bringing about the events that will inevitably cause the same things to occur again and again and again. I write about natural law and principle. I used to write about the oath of office and the Constitution until I realized what truly took place starting in 1861. But today, the American people are not the same people ethically, morally, and intellectually as the people that existed 155 years ago. They were misled 155 years ago, I believe, resulting in the bloodiest conflict we've ever fought, brother against brother. But in many ways, they were far smarter than people today. At least, they fight. At least, they defended their homeland. I'm referring here mostly to the Confederates because what the North did was conquer their brothers in the South. The South wanted to live in peace. The North couldn't afford to lose the revenue that they were pilfering off the economy of the South. But the war didn't just defeat the South. The federal forces didn't stand down as they were required to under the Constitution 2 years after the conflict. No, they stayed and marshaled up and started slowly transforming America into the corporate wasteland that it is today. The debt, the lawlessness, the violation of principle, the attacks against the natural rights of the American people, the theft of our lands, and the plunder of this republic has brought us to the point of near annihilation. Yet, not a single shot has been fired in defense of the republic. No one is willing to take up arms and go against the District of Columbia and their agents. No one. Well, I can't quite say that. I know there are patriots out there that want to fight. They want their country back. They believe in the natural law. They believe in the Declaration of Independence and the principles that it put forth. But they feel outnumbered and alone, leaderless. No place to go. Most Americans today hardly know their own neighbors, except in small rural America. In the urban centers, everybody's scared to death of each other, and they're kept that way by the media, bombarded continuously with murder after murder, kidnapping, and various other crimes, violent crimes in the city. The judicial system, I should call it the legal department of the corporation, has made sure that they release pedophiles and rapists and murderers back into society to keep us all in a perpetual state of fear of one another and of anybody that we could even possibly meet that would be a friend. We stay within our tight little circles. We live within our gilded cages that have been provided for us, our jobs and our nice car and maybe a house. And that's vanishing rapidly because they're stealing the homes. Yet, everybody still don't want to fight. Oh, they'll fight in the courts and lose because the courts are designed to defeat them. Americans used to have grit. Americans used to pride themselves on fighting for freedom, even when doing so abroad was a violation of the very instruments of freedom in America today. We've been led to believe that our troops are being sent off to fight against evil, when in fact it is the very evil that we're supposed to be fighting that's commanding our forces. Recently, Americans had a lot of hope of this upstart businessman, Donald Trump. He spoke his mind. He didn't think twice about attacking his enemies. He told the truth, even about himself. That corrupt bastard's been paying off and bribing officials all of his business life. Yet everybody just accepts that as a normal course of events. But the truth is, he isn't on our side. And he's showing that now. He threw out some patriots at a recent rally. And he given high praise to Richard Haass, who happens to be the director of the Council on Foreign Relations, an organization that back in the 1920s bragged about its goals of erasing American sovereignty, indeed all sovereignty of the earth, in favor of a world government. So Donald Trump, like every other politician, has shown himself to be a globalist. His business interests are global. He has customers in China, he has customers in Saudi Arabia, he has customers all over the world. And if he has his way, he'll have a Trump Tower in every capital of the planet. When are Americans going to understand that they must stand up? There are no George Washingtons today. Then the minute one pops up, the oligarchy will either demonize him in the media, which most of the people will clamor and go, wow, what an asshole, or what a horrible person, because the media told them so it must be true. Or, if that don't work, they'll just JFK him. The same people that murdered President Kennedy run our government today. Oh, they're getting old. They're going to croak pretty soon, but people just like them will take their place. I'm one of those Americans that really don't give a shit anymore. I love this country. I want to see it restored. And I really don't care the cost that I'm going to have to pay in order to try to see that happen. I'm 60 years old today. I don't think I'll ever see the restoration of this republic. But I'm hoping that in some small measure, the words that I've written and stated on video And the few people that I've actually eye-to-eye talked to, that I've sparked something in enough people to start a virus of freedom in this country. I don't care if it's just 5 towns in Montana or in Kansas. I don't care. Just want to see people fight for freedom. I've said this in a couple of my articles, but I'll state it here anyway. The militias that are presently formed, I don't believe that most of them are led by American patriots. I believe that they're either federal agents or agents of the oligarchy, if you will, who are pretending to be patriots, who have a very good gift of gab and convince the rank and file underneath them, their subordinates, that standing down in the face of tyranny is a necessity. They come up with some excuse. But I'm here to tell you right now, every one of you in the rank and file of the militia, when you stand down in the face of tyranny, when you stand down when your neighbors and friends are being victimized and their natural rights are assaulted by the courts and by the other agencies of government, you're committing an act of treason, because you're aiding and abetting the enemies you're supposed to be fighting. The whole purpose of the militia in America, as I see it, my opinion, based on the Declaration of Independence, is the community at arms, marshaled to defend the natural rights of the community, of the people in the community, not the government offices, not there to be the lackeys and the military force of the governor or the mayor or some other executive in this corporation that's calling itself government. You're supposed to be marshaled to defend the people. When they set up sobriety checkpoints and other roadblocks and impede the travel of American people, you're supposed to counter that and prevent that usurpation, that tyranny from taking place against the people. This isn't Germany. This isn't Nazi Germany. This is the United States of America. We are a free people. Now, for those of you who think because of the Patriot Act that all of a sudden the Bill of Rights is of none effect, you're deceiving yourself. The Bill of Rights was telling the government to stay away from our natural rights. It didn't grant rights to anybody. Government does not have the authority to supersede the Creator, and the Creator gave us our natural rights. I'm getting really tired. Not because I don't believe in the cause, but because I still feel very alone. When I was a boy, I never thought this world would ever happen. I never thought that I'd be pleading with Americans to actually stand up and be free. Just take it for granted. And even then, when I was a young boy, I was in a gilded cage. I was taught lies by my teachers, by my parents, by my grandparents, because that's what they were taught. We have been increasingly enslaved since the war everybody thinks was supposed to end slavery. Stand up, people, especially you young people. Your future is going to be so horrific if you don't. I've lived my life. I'm 60 years old now. I've spent nearly 43 of them in this battle in one capacity or another. and having absolutely no success because I refuse. I absolutely and have always adamantly refused to play the game like everybody else. Because I knew the deck was stacked. I knew we weren't going to go anywhere playing their game. When you play within the corrupt system the oligarchs have created, you're never going to win. The ultimate goal for these invaders, occupiers, is the erasure of our borders and the immersion of the American Republic into the New World Order. Global governance. It's not a secret, people. Just open your frickin' eyes. Go to your search engines. Just go to Google and type in World Federalists. Go into Google and type the foreignaffairs.org and read their publication. And you will see their contempt for sovereignty. This is all about globalism. This is all about turning the whole world into one nice little, well, less populated fiefdom for the elite. This video is turning out to be a lot longer than I anticipated. It's hard for me to upload sometimes where I am. But I have to say something. I realize that I was just on a radio show recently, and I kind of struggled with the end of that show because I actually brought up what I had stated in one of my articles, Restoring the American Republic to Freedom. I called for a guerrilla war. I called for teams of guerrilla fighters taking back their local governments and hit-and-run raids. Recapturing our territory, because that's what's going to take. And you know what? I kind of felt guilty because what I said, you may have painted a target on this guy. And I probably shouldn't have done that. Because we have to make our own decisions to stand. Not everybody's going to stand. People are going to play the game as long as they can until they're dead, or until they're rolled over, or there's a knock at the door at 3 o'clock in the morning and their families are hauled off. They will fight with words until they can't anymore. Well, when you fight a defensive war and you only defend, you lose. There is no other outcome. If you don't fight, if you don't stand and take the battle to the enemy, you will lose. So if you're not willing to fight, if you're not willing to stand, if you're not willing to pay the price and the cost for liberty, then why are you even bothering? Why? Why go to all the expense to fight them within their system and feed their lawyers and feed their judges and feed their corrupt system with your wealth, with everything you've worked for, only to lose? Because you will. I'll guarantee you will lose, America. You will lose this country. Because unless these people, these oligarchs, can see their mortality as our people are coming after their asses, they're not going to do shit. They're going to continue to do exactly what they're doing. They're calculating that we won't fight. They're calculating that we will not stand. And so far, they're right on the money. Whether or not you understand this or realize this, I realize that people have been absorbed in watching television shows and movies and all kinds of things where actors stand up and make statements, and the good guys either live or die, but it's all due to the producer. But I'm telling you this, what I am saying right here is at the risk of my own life. I'm not mincing words. I'm not hiding what needs to be done. I'm not dancing around trying to hope that everybody figures out what I'm trying to say. I'm telling you straight out. If you don't fight, if you don't force government back behind the lines, basically abolishing this corporation and reestablishing good government, in this case, you will be either a slave or dead. They're spraying chemicals all over you every day. If you just look up into your skies and see all of those chemtrails, because contrails disappear shortly after the aircraft creates them. You are being sprayed with aluminum and barium and various other substances that are not healthy for you or even the wildlife and plant life around you. Our world is being transformed, basically being destroyed from what it is today. These people will stop at nothing. So if you don't stop them, I don't even want to think about the world that's going to come after that. I'd rather think about the dreams that the Founding Fathers had about America. That is, when I look at the principle, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When I see a world under those principles, I see what I'd really like to live in. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Is the government today securing your natural rights? Is the people calling themselves government securing your natural rights? When you smoke a joint, are you harming anybody? When you drive 5 miles or 10 miles over the speed limit and you don't hit anybody and you don't damage any property, have you hurt anybody? Have you committed any crime? No. There can be no crime in the absence of a victim. The state has us all brainwashed into believing it is a victim. And it can't be in natural law, because it was created by us for a purpose, to secure our rights, and we have a natural right to travel, unimpeded, unhindered, as long as we harm no one else. But I tried to teach this for years. I tried to talk to people about this for years, and I keep getting the continuous argument that we would have chaos if we didn't have the state telling us what to do, how fast to do it, how to do it, when to do it, and if we can do it, including bearing arms. I love America. I love the American people. I love the Creator who gave us our natural rights. The American people are pissing them away. We could be a beacon that educates the rest of the world as to these principles, but instead, we're an example that no country should follow. We're sheep, and we're about to be slaughtered because no one will stand up. I don't mean to be so negative all the time. I would much rather do videos about other things that I'm interested in that are not so negative. But we're at the precipice. There really isn't a whole lot of time to sit around and talk about the birds and the bees and the beautiful flowers and everything that's going on, because quite frankly, that's about to get blown to hell. When we regain our liberty, when we put government back where it belongs, or simply learn a system that we don't need that anymore, where other people don't need to control Then we can talk about the things we love to do and the people we love and the people we even disagree about. We can go into all that stuff and just have a grand old time with one eye on the world around us to make damn sure that we're not threatened. I like to placer mine. I like to be out in the frickin' streams, but I haven't been able to do that in 2 years. I'm not making enough to fill my frickin' gas tank. But I'll tell you, I can't stop. I can't stop doing this. Till the day they put me down and stick a missile up my ass, or they try to capture me, I'm going to continue doing this. If I don't have the money to do it, if I can't get back online, then I'll have to change tack. But I will continue to fight until I can't fight. My mission, as I understand it from my Creator, is to raise an army. And the only way that I can do that as just a plain old Thomas Mick is to expound the principles of this republic, to teach natural law and how precious our rights are, and where they came from, and the necessity for us to preserve them. And hope, beyond hope, that I can raise enough men, and there are a lot of women, raise enough men that are willing to stand up and fight for those principles, and to put the enemies of freedom where they belong, in hell. It's going to take me forever to upload this, so I will bid you adieu at this point. But I pray that these words, they don't come across as arrogant or condescending, but they come across as a plea for people to stand up. Our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, the future of our posterity will live in misery if we don't. And they will only have us to blame for it, because they will no longer have the means to stand up and throw off the tyranny. We do. We have so many guns in this country, it's not even funny. But when they just sit in storage rooms and they just go out to shoot at paper targets and not at the tyrants that are opposing and trying to confiscate them, they're worthless. I wrote something some time back, and I'm actually going to, when I get the funds raised, I'm actually going to print some t-shirts with this quote. When you're a slave in your mind, it matters not if you're armed. Till next time.